question has been asked to me, is Real Animator Training Library the real deal?
Is that Real Animator Training real? Absolutely.
The Real Animator Training provided by A&B Animation, it is absolutely the best ever.
Is Real Animators Training for real? Yes, it is.
Where have I been learning animation? Well, the Real Animator Training Library.
And there's so many videos in the library that you could learn forever.
I'm just so happy with the way that I've progressed since I've started in the A&B Animation Library.
I'm a post-production artist. I'm also a member of the A&B Real Animator Training Library.
Is A&B's Real Animator Training for real? I definitely have to say I think it is.
I've been to art school for 4 years, and I've never had any lesson that was as good as the ones that A&B gave me.
A&B animation can be a life changer. Certainly was for me.
I totally love it. That's what I have to say. That's the way I have to say that I love it, because I must admit that at first I didn't trust it too much. I never thought that would make that difference in my life.
So I went ahead and hopped on into the library, and that library is just so valuable, so many things you can learn, and every video is like packed with this information that I would never be able to get anywhere else.
I bought this in support because it has changed my life, and you know, everyone's lives are being changed by this, and you know, this experience has been great.
It's just truly amazing. I may have said that already. But yeah, it's been one of the best things that's happened in my life.
Is Real Animation Training Library real? It doesn't get realer. Thanks.
So, are you gonna join the library?
Hello and welcome once again to another edition of A&B Animation Livestream. Right, well, in New Zealand it is the, just double check, it is the 30th of December. So we are fast approaching New Year. And I thought we're going to have a fun live stream build up leading up to New Year. I'm sure that you guys have got your New Year goals and all that kind of thing. I'm happy to take any questions regarding that, any animation problems that you might have, or art related, drawing related problems that you might have. I'm quite happy to answer those, but I thought we're going to have a little bit of fun. Now, we've only got 3 people interacting and saying hello. Maybe I can get some more comments by telling you what I've got planned for today's stream. I figured, like, why don't I get you guys to challenge me a little bit, and the same way that we get well, Zentron's kind of clicked onto this, but I'm not going to animate a scene because I want to make it something manageable, just like a simple move, like a head turn. So the same way you see me systematically break down character drawings for you, and I do a slow drawing sometimes on the feedback stream, why don't you just suggest to me any random character the same way, but this time I'll animate it doing a head turn. And so I'm going to be a lot quicker. I'll just familiarize myself with the model a little bit, and then I'll animate it doing one of the basic animation exercises like a head turn, and we'll keep it on model or to model relatively, and I'll show you how a real animator would be able to, back in the day, systematically walk into any commission on any job and be able to hit the ground running on model. So why don't you guys suggest to me a character just like you would on the breakdowns in the chat, but then think about the kind of character that you'd like to see me animating the head turn. So I'm going to say a few hellos, and other things that you're going to want to ask is any kind of animation New Year's problems that you know, maybe you think you want to work on something in the new year, you want to work on this, that, the other. You can ask those kind of questions in the chat as well. So while you're suggesting the characters, we've got Garth Oostveen. How are you? Good to have you on my stream. If I haven't said hello to you before, apologies. I believe I'm reading that name for the first time. You got the usual suspects. Silver Sun. How are you? Sojong An. Zentron has said, maybe a quick scene from Filmation, New Adventures of Flash Gordon. Typical Zentron. Giving, hey, well, that's the only suggestion we've got. So if that's the only suggestion we've got, then that's, I guess, what we're gonna do. Oh, we've got some few other people coming this way. I'm gonna give you a good 8 minutes. We're 5 minutes in at the moment. Just suggest me some characters. Kitchacat, what I've got is head turn. We're gonna do a head turn from a random character. Hey Zedpo, how are you? A head turn from a random character of your suggestion. It can be anyone's character, any design, providing it's within a 2D thing. We've got Scott Pilgrim. You know, I don't even know what Scott Pilgrim. I've heard the name, but that's how uninterested I am in Scott Pilgrim. Okay. Is it an animated show? Is he an animated thing? He's a man. I'm not gonna. Oh, hang on. There's a. Oh, okay. It's a really. I could do that, but it would be nice if I had a. Yeah, give me something nice to draw, guys. I mean, if it's gonna be Scott Pilgrim, it's gonna be Scott Pilgrim, but that's gonna be really easy, and it's gonna be really painful for me to draw something that ugly. So thank you, Jay the 18th, but give me something that I'm gonna enjoy a little bit. Ayub Mahdi. Sonic. Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog. How 2D version of a 3D character? That would be interesting, but I wanna more kind of stick and model. I don't want to add in an extra challenge of me having to design and interpret a 3D model that's already there. I mean, I could do that, but we've got Dale Ardent. We've got the New Adventures of Flash Gordon, Scott Pilgrim, and Sonic. I'm gonna avoid doing an old Filmation show, Zentron. I wanna kind of balance to audience taste. So Scott Pilgrim looks a little too far forward to the digital puppetry shape sliding design for me to really want to. Even Steven Universe. I get what you're into, Jay the 18th, but it's just so far away from the kind of like high quality Disney-esque stuff that I'm doing. And I think Zentron's thing is so far back that I want to kind of marry it in the middle somewhere. So even if it's an anime or a Disney or, you know, even a more kind of style to do with like a more kind of current style, like what is that, Invincible or something like that, I'm happy to do that. But I want to kind of marry the thing in the middle so we get some kind of quality. Sonic isn't bad. Sonic is kind of cartoon. There are many incarnations of it. Sonic isn't a bad suggestion. So unless Kitchacat or Sojong An or Silver Sun are gonna chip in, it looks like I'm thinking Sonic is kind of like gonna keep the cartoon people happy, and also it's because it's kind of Sonic was based from Mickey Mouse. Zentron, the New Adventures of He-Man is not like, that's still kind of like really old school anime. Let's do something that's a little bit more current, more. Let me look at Steven Universe. I remember him being a really ugly drawing. Okay, Steven Universe. I remember. Okay, yeah. This kind of thing is very digital puppetry kind of stuff. To be honest, the way I would animate his head turn would be very different to the way they do it in the show. They would just probably flick him from one head turn, flick his head turn from one side to the other. 1989, yeah. Naruto. That's a good suggestion, Jay the 18th. We've been doing a Naruto study lately. I don't know if you've been seeing, I've been studying a Naruto fight scene. So Jay the 18th is really, I'm not deliberately not doing your suggestions, Jay. It's just I've been doing a lot of Naruto and I don't want to do him on today's stream because we're doing a whole fight scene with him. We've got Cameron Allen Davidson Black. How are you, Cameron? We're taking a random character that I'm gonna take from the chat suggestion that I feel will make a good live stream. This ugly kind of digital puppet style I don't really want to do today. I mean I want to do something, get something that I can look at and go, that was a nice piece of work. I don't want to do anything too old school either. I want to keep it kind of mid and in the balance. So we've got Bolto. I want to avoid that character because I've just been doing people have been accusing me of my little red of looking a bit like Bolto. I want to do something that I don't know. Gorman San Diego. That's an interesting suggestion. Gorman San Diego. I know that that's got an old one and a new one. A new ugly digital puppet one. A nice old school one. We've got Luffy. Zentron, you're really suggesting me. I'm not going to do 80s TV Defenders of the Earth style shows. Zentron, I'm not going to. I want something a little bit more, something that the audience, the wider audience is going to relate to. Okay, so we've got Luffy. I've heard of that. What's Luffy? Oh, okay. This is an interesting. He's from One Piece. Maybe Jay the 18th. You've got me. Ed, what's this one that Sojong An said? Yeah, Zentron, it's so obscure though that only you or I would know that. And this is a New Year's fun stream that I don't want to make it so exclusive. Okay, let's see who this is. Oh, I don't know this character. Conan. Ed. I'm preferring Luffy. I'm preferring Luffy to this. So then we've got Seth MacFarlane. No, if Seth MacFarlane is really like bad quality. The kind of stuff that I don't classify as real animation. It's all ugly puppet, digital puppet, like. Family Guy was digital puppet before digital puppets, So sorry about that, Zedpo. Okay, I may be going with the Luffy. If I'm gonna go for 3 more suggestions from you guys. Okay, I'm not gonna do Goku. I did a Dragon Ball turnaround years ago for someone. A Fox in Space, James McLeod. A Fox in Space. What's this? Okay. So I'm sticking with the Luffy for the time being because that seems like a good kind of marriage. A Fox in Space. That looks like it's been designed by an amateur furry artist. So I'm going to stick with Luffy. By the way, you should check out A Fox in Space. He specializes in making animation that looks like... Oh, so it was an amateur furry artist. But thanks. Good. I wish him well. I'm not rubbishing, well done to him. It looks a bit like Star Fox to me, what it is. Okay, so I think we've come to a decision. We're 14 minutes in. 14 minutes of banter. But we've got there. I'm going to do this Luffy. Somebody's saying it's pronounced Luffy. Okay, so I'm going to do this. He's from One Piece, I think. So I'm going to take some images of him. I can just scroll the images of him as I'm going, actually. He's always got this strange grin on his face. Okay, so I've got an idea of him, a profile of him, and I've got an idea. All I need is a profile, a 3/4, and okay. Let me see if I can be cheeky enough to write Luffy profile. Luffy profile. view. Okay, no. Oh yes, yes, perfect. I've got what I want. I've got everything I need. Okay, this is gonna be fun. You know what? I'm gonna annoy all you anime people, and I'm just gonna keep saying Luffy. I'm gonna be drawing. I'm gonna be drawing Luffy from One Piece. Luffy, mate. Luffy. The character. I know. You've told me it's Luffy, right? You said it's pronounced Lupa. I'm just gonna keep on doing this because I want to have some fun. Okay, right. Right. So let's draw Luffy then. All right. Let's have a go at this. So first, I'm gonna quickly familiarize myself with this character's model. So I'm gonna make a few images of myself of this, right? So there's a side view, right? So basically, he's a hat. Let's see if you're seeing this. Are you hearing me? Yes, you are. Right. Right. So he's got his head, which is going to exist in a halfway across his face like this. So I'm making some references for myself, right? He's got one heck of a long neck, right? Almost the length of his head, right? Like that. His ear is at the back. His hat on this view. I'm going to angle his hat down because that'll make it all the more interesting, right? So his hat comes out around about in line with his back there like that. So I'm making some just a few notes to myself so I can play with the character, right? So okay, so now we've got a strand of hair, we've got two strands of hair here, we've got like a kind of mark under his eye, we've got a around the ear point, we've got another two strands of hair, right? So that's that. And then at the back, for me the hair is the thing that I want to really familiarize myself with. So you got a really triangular nose, right? And the nose is kind of on the mouth like that. Okay, right? And then we've got like these kind of indentations on his hat, which I can have fun with. I'm going to include that in there too. All right. So the ear is he's got just a helix and a tagos, and we've got this, right? So that gives me an understanding of his side view, right? So now let's have a look at his. Ooh, that's a nice drawing. I've got something to play with here. That's interesting. But I'm going to look at this. Yeah, that'll do for kind of mid 3/4. Okay, so now I'm going to look at his front view, and I'm going to be able to make some of this up. All right. So his neck doesn't look as long, but this is the shape. So he's got his ears coming out to the side like this, right? And this. Now he's got this typical expression, which is, 1, 2, 3, coming like this. Okay, so I'm tackling this exactly if I'd have walked into an animation studio, right? And they've given me some material and they've said, right, you've got a week to animate this commercial for such and such. They want to do this One Piece. There's a One Piece promo. We want One Piece to turn his head, and so I would walk in, and normally I would spend a day doing this, right? Because if I'm being paid for it, right, I want to get it to the best of my ability, right? And I know that what I can do in a day, sometimes most people will do in a, even if they're competent, will do it in a year, right? But so I know that I can come and do in a few hours or like an hour or even half an hour or 15 minutes what I'm working out here, it'll be sufficient for me to do what I want to do with this guy. Right, so we're going to have his hair, right? So he's got this. This is going to be fun. Just looking at this, I've kind of got an idea. Right now I'm messed up a bit there, but I'll sort that out. I'll come back. I've kind of got an idea of what I want him to do when he turns his head. Right, I'm going to use all this material that I've got. So his hand is holding his hat, but I can't see that. But I'm going to make a drawing of the entire character's hand model as well, so I get a idea of that. Okay, so that's another one, right? Let's shrink these reference drawings down a little for myself. Now, this is another image that I'd like to use for a kind of 3/4 if I want to do a slow in, right? So let's do that. So we've got if I want to think of his head as a whole, it's probably like that, and his hat is half. Let me just move these a little bit away. Get out of the way. Right. Out of the way you go. Right. So, his hat is exactly like, he's almost like a capsule, right? So this is another thing I'm working about the size of his hat. His hat is like halfway on his head. Then they divide that like there, right? So right now all I'm thinking about is model reference for myself, like not making pretty drawings, just things that I can have as takeaway, right? So here his head is kind of at an angle, right? So the nose, this is like this, so the nose is going to come straight down. His eye is more looking at us there, actually, like that. So his eye is like that, right? I don't know if he's got a patch on that other eye or not yet, and probably not, because it's hair like this, it's just black. But and he's got a scar under that eye, right? He's got a scar. He's got a little bit of a tear in his hat. That's good information for me to know, right? And his mouth is like this, right? So his ears the hat is at a tilt. I wonder how often that is in the show. It makes for a nice drawing. So his hair is at the side like this. Okay. Right, so there's that, and his hat is long like that. Now let's just take I'm not going to do the body just yet. I'm still going to play with his head. Just another view. I want another proper, that's what we call a 3/4 front view that I've just had a little play with there. Okay, so that's the 3/4 front view. I'm making myself a quick little model sheet of this guy that I can work with. Okay, there is a 3/4 view, but his head is angled. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. That gives me a look at his hairstyle. Okay, so we've got another one here, right? So let's take a little more look at the character's head. So the head is going to be just a normal, I'm just going to draw a shape like this, and I'm going to understand, because everything, how you're going to see me use the thing I tell you not to use, because, well, I teach you it, but I advise against it, because many of you think of it as a formula and then you skip anatomy, but it's okay. I'm quite, I invented it, so it serves me well. So his eyes are going to be hair like this, right? And then you've got one eye hair like this, one eye like that. Then the nose kind of sits on that eye. So a little bit difference going on in the nose. Over to the side of the head. In the middle of the face is his mouth, which is hair, right? So we have that, okay. Right, so now his facial shape comes as a block, right, to there, and we're just I'm gonna make it a little bit more graphic than it is for my own benefit, right? Right, so this comes under here. Now, what's his ear like? His ear is positioned way down here, which is strange, right? But his helix is just a round shape like this. Okay, interesting. And inside there, they've got all kinds of small details, which I don't really need right now. Now, this is the interesting aspect. He's got a very, it's almost like his forehead is a whole third up like this, if his head's divided into thirds. But then we're gonna split that like this, right? And we're gonna split that again, split around. So 1, 2 around here. So he's got a middle kind of parting, if you will. And he's got like he's got these triangles on either side of the eyebrow, right? Which come like this. And this comes down like that. I'm tempted to make that look smaller because it's such a big forehead. He would put Albert Einstein to shame there. Oh, Tetsuo. He's got that big Tetsuo forehead. Tetsuo! Kaneda! Right, so we have that, right? Then we have this. It's gonna come around the back, right? And then the hair is just gonna come off the ear like that. Okay, there we are. Now I don't really see his hat in this image, but I'm gonna make it up because as I'm going, I'm gonna keep trying to familiarize myself with the model. So we're just gonna create that round. Gonna think about the space on this hat here, and I'm gonna create that round there like that. Okay, so that goes around. And would we even see, maybe we would see a little bit of the back there like that, and he's got all those little things in there. Okay, so that's another image which I may use or may not use, but it still helps me for my goal of what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so let's just put that here like this. Right, so we've got another image of the character's head. Right, now I want another 3/4 with the hat. Okay, remember just a few more images I'm gonna look for here. He's got trademark images. I don't want his. He's got that trademark big grin on his face, which I really don't. I want to see him with a more neutral expression, but I'm not finding it. They love that grin. But there's another thing. Okay, so be it. So be it. No, hang on. I found some. Okay. 2 more images I want to do. I'm going to do this image. It's a GIF, damn it. Okay. Never mind. Let's do this image. Again, it's a GIF. Alright. Let's just do it. I really didn't want to do it. Okay, and then I'm gonna have to do an image of him with his clothes so I can understand. Okay, so one more, right? So we basically have a round, and then in that round we're gonna frame his head off it. Okay, so this is a good way of understanding the hat to head ratio, which is possibly the thing about this character, which is the challenging aspect, right? So his neck is going to come back here like this, right? So more of that hat comes around there. Right, straight line, midline. Eyes are just basically one like this. Right? I made them a little bit big, right? And the nose sits off the side of this eye. Eyebrows come above it. Now this is just ridiculous. I mean, I quite like the drawings in the show, but I mean, this is one of the things about anime that actually infuriates me, because I know these guys know how to draw. It's like they're doing it on purpose. It is like they're just, that's their style, that's what they want to do. But like, why? Okay, why do we have to make a smile look like that? But that's part of the show. Okay, now we're gonna curl the hair. So the hair's a little bit different. I guess there's slight differences between the comic and the animation, the actual animation show, but it just gives me enough material to look at. That's variation. This one is very, very, I've completely missed the plot on the hat as I've tried to figure out the hat to head ratio. So I'm just gonna, what I'm gonna do when I animate it is I'm gonna start with the head and add the hat later. That no time to play with silhouettes. You tend to want to look and study silhouettes but when animating something that you're not so familiar with, you're going to keep the silhouette in, but I wouldn't generally start with the silhouette because I'm not familiar or confident enough with the design to start animating purely from a silhouette basis. Okay, so we have this. Right, now I want to have a look at this guy's hand model, because I've got an idea that I want to do something with his hands. Let's just do this, okay? He's got no open hands. I may not get his hands on model. Well, I need to rush. So I'm going to do this drawing. This is the last drawing. How are we doing for time? 2017. Okay, so this is the last drawing that I'm going to do of him for my own benefit, and then we're going to animate. Right, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to save this drawing. So you're watching me do those animation breakdowns that I normally take sometimes 40 minutes to an hour to 20 minutes doing by making all the line quality nice and everything. You're basically watching me do that now at super breakneck speed. I'm going to do this in a blue. Alright, so this will be a silhouette study for myself. Right, so his hat is coming out here like this, in here, in line, his shoulders out. So he's got a this kind of shape body, right? I'm not going to animate full body, but if you're going to do any kind of animation, right, you're going to want to have an idea of the character's structure overall when you're animating it. You can't, even if you're just going to play about with the character's head, it's a good thing to do, right? So the arms finish about here. The sleeves, he's got sleeves that come down there like that, and he's got his arms come in the middle like this. He's got big hands. He's almost a little bit like my Groundhopper character in that regard. He's got big hands, thin wrists. So then we've got his shorts, which come about here like this, and a negative triangle in the middle, right? So I'm gonna very quickly start piecing this together now, and I'm gonna do it a lot based on the things on memory of some of the things that I've got, so that I've gone from the other drawings, right? So his head is gonna fit inside. It's almost like Mage Burger. I saw him in the chat. Look, Mage, an Illuminati eye for you there, right? I know Mage Burger would find that funny. Right, so this is gonna go in here like this. It's gonna fit inside the hat, right? Along the middle, we've got the eye one. Let's put the little diamond to kind of get that in there. 1, 2, 3, right? I'm trying not to look at it so much. If I'm not 100% to model, I don't care, because it's as long as it captures that feel, right? So the front view is here, and his mouth is gonna. His mouth is virtually no. His mouth comes to about like the middle of his eyes. It feels wider. So now we've got one. Okay, so there's no real rhyme or formula. It's just like that middle parting in his hair, and you can play with it and make it more. In that way, what I like about anime is they're a little bit more. They're not so formulaic on model. They're happy to stray, just like the old Disney stuff before, like the 90s cleanup department Renaissance came in. They're, you know, they're happy to fiddle around with hair and have it like go a little bit like it's not so. There's a hairstyle, you've got to be within it, but you can play. So I like that. Excuse me. So his hat comes over like that. Now maybe you can see why I didn't want to do the Steven Universe thing, right? And the Seth MacFarlane or the whatever thing, because I want to really analyze the character a little bit, and before I animate it, I'm gonna try to do a nice head turn with it. Okay, I don't want to, you know, so I really, there's not much you can do. Every character of those is basically just the same digital puppet outline with a mildly different expression. There's no real drawing to those things. This is why I really didn't want to do that, right? So, okay. So now he's got an open shirt, but I'm gonna figure out this construction of this. So off the back of his open shirt, we're gonna hang these things here. We're gonna come around the sides, right, of his shoulders. I'm a little bit off with that. It's should be within the hat, just about, not quite, right? He's a little bit more gangly than what I've got, right? So then he's got his nice V taper. He's like a straw man, actually. He's like a straw man. Now, what I really like about this, right? So his hips are gonna be about here, right? With his belt about here, right? Which is cool. But what I like about this is I love, again, it's the anime garments. Absolutely love it, right? So we come here now. We're gonna go around like this, and we're gonna go down. We're gonna go around like this, and we're gonna go down, and then we're gonna go around to the back, right? And we're gonna go down. So he's got this cool, almost like flared. That's like old school pirate quality to him, right? And that comes straight down there, and we avoid that line. Okay, so the first two is like that. See, so even though I'm not going to be animating the guy's body in this, I'm still gonna, okay, I'm kind of being very symmetrical, right? Which is wrong, right? So this is more better, right? So they're playing with it. They're not making it symmetrical, right? I was looking at, I was going shopping with my wife the other day, and I saw this drawing of 101 Dalmatians on this merchandise, and I went, look at that. Looks like they've drawn half of the dog's face in Illustrator and just mirrored it. Awful shit. That gets released under the Walt Disney name today. And on classic characters as well. Just disgusting. Right, so, but I was doing that there virtually myself, which is why I was, you know, you don't want to be symmetrical, right? That's low standard stuff. To be 100% symmetrical. That's what a digital puppeteer who can't draw would rely on, right? Which is what we don't want to be. You're real animators. You express the craft at its highest level, right? You don't want to do, you don't weak, all right? You're not unable to draw. You're not dependent on some tool in the software and then hiding behind the term that it saves time, right? You know, doesn't matter if you're having a shit or you got diarrhea. It's all shit, right? You want to be able to draw properly, right? So that's where the middle section is with his abs. Nice abs. Making me want to go and train mine. All right. So the belt comes here like that, and then I'm gonna be quite careless with this now because I'm kind of like, I'm just focusing on the head, and I know I said I want to focus on the body, but I don't want to hang around too long on the stream. So I'm not going to bother too much with his shorts. What I do want to know about is his hands, right? So his hands, again, what I love about these sleeves is we've got the sleeves coming out the back like this, and we've got another shape like this, right? And then we're going to cut in, and we're going to create the drapery around it like that. Isn't that awesome, right? So we're just going to create some drapes on his sleeves like that. He's got, and a similar one on the other side. Now this is kind of a little bit symmetrical, but that's okay. You know, it's not exactly the same. So we'll run through the whole thing again, round, in, round, and down, right, with some drapes there like that. Fantastic. Right, so the arms come through like this. Now the fist, I want to try and keep the hand model, because I will end up probably giving him milk cow hands, but which is my default, which is off model. But hands tend to be, you know, just only different in style depending on how graphic they are, or how, you know, hair is so almost the way they've drawn the hands are almost how I would draw the hands. What I know would be different the way they draw it is fists can only look a certain way because you've got these block-like shapes. It's more when it's open fingers. I wanted to look at his finger model. What I'm going to do for my sake, all right, just to remind myself, even though I'm not doing his body, just to remind myself, okay, he's got a slightly bigger head. Right. Now let's move that there. So that is our and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into my own little model sheet reference, right? So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to put this here like that, and I'm going to put this one just up here like that. Right? Let's move that down there. Right, so I have made some studies. Oh, please don't crash. I didn't save it either. Alright. Oh, it didn't crash. Right, file save. If that would have crashed, that would have been absolute hell. Right? Okay. So I have made some studies of the One Piece character, and now I'm going to go off and animate the head turn. So we're 42 minutes into the stream. I've made some studies. I'm going to animate the head turn. Now we didn't have that many people on the chat when I said, so I'm going to quickly come and say hello. This is all a bit of New Year's fun. So I'm going to quickly come and say hello, and then we're going to jump back in and we're going to chat. So I see some familiar faces. All right, who we got? We've got Mage Burger. I'm drawing Luffy, Mage. Luffy. I challenge you to animate Mickey Mouse. Your worst nightmare. Actually, yes. Very, very difficult. The real one, the proper one. I never draw with a mouse, Jay the 18th. I don't know how old you are, Jay. But even if you're not very old, please do not draw with a mouse, alright? If you can't afford computer equipment, that's alright. The reason I draw so good is because I've had years of practice using paper and pencil, alright? And you're still never going to be able to practice better than with cheap paper and pencil that you can get from a $2 shop. So please, 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 just because everybody's using digital, drawing with a mouse is almost like cutting off your hand and disabling yourself and trying to see what it's like to draw as somebody who was perhaps a little bit less fortunate to have all their hands intact when they were born. If that's, you know, don't do that to yourself. Don't try to draw with a mouse ever. I'm really saying this because it's just the mentality we live in today, where everybody thinks it's about you're the artist. the fucking, sorry to swear, the computer, the tool. You're not a tool of a tool, man. Everything comes from you. You have the best tools, the very best tools. You know, that's what makes humans so advanced. These hands and these abilities, right? You hold this, you draw what's in your head, right? Whether it's on a $2 bit of paper or whatever. Don't jump. Please don't fall into this trap of digital shit, right? Nothing I'm doing here has got anything to do with it. It's digital because it's easy for me to stream it to you and you can see clearly what I'm doing. Having a camera with bad lighting or whatever, with me in a sketch pad with my hand in the way, drawing, you're not gonna, so that's the best reason of this being digital, right? Nothing to do with the drawing. Nothing, right? I draw better with pencil. Okay, so we've got the lovely Hervonia Baker. Notice how I'm letting the drawings that I did just sink in. So when I come back fresh to my screen, it's going to be a little bit even better, right? A dancing penguin. People came in a little bit too late, Marshall. I used to read. Okay, we got Frilled Mayfly. How are you? Enio-san, Xavier. I have no reason to animate in After Effects. I animate in the way that is natural, okay? Just drawing one frame on top of another frame on top of another frame and putting drawings in between those frames. Now, whatever equipment I have that enables me to do that, it's fine. Now, I like to do it on paper, but for you guys to see that, that's difficult, right? So my sharing of that knowledge will be not as effective. And also, it takes time to scan it in and color it if I want to turn out content on my own. So whatever piece of equipment, this isn't even an animation software what I'm using, all right? It's a storyboard software, has no dedicated animation tools, because guess what? Dedicated animation tools in digital software are all useless to a real animator, right? I have proven time and time again the kind of, and I'm going to do it on today's stream. We're going to animate a head turn with a character I've never seen before. I've seen it before, but never drawn it, never really paid attention to it, never really studied it in my life. We're going to animate it. I'm going to animate a head turn. It's probably going to animate, the animation I'm going to do is probably going to be better than what's in the actual show. So we're going to do that today, right? And it's got nothing to do with the animation software. So I probably would never animate in a program like After Effects because it's not designed to draw in, right? So thanks for the question, but again, I want to focus to the people watching me that are in the background stands for real animator training, people who really want to express the craft. This isn't real digital puppetry training, okay? I know digital puppetry today is called animation, but as I said, it's a topsy-turvy world we live in, right? They'll release a movie with computer-generated lions and call it a live-action movie, and it'll be nominated in the live-action categories, and everybody will watch it and say, yeah, that's live action. So I don't call that animation. I call that digital puppetry. Anything that's drawn by the human hand, whether it's with vector on glass or whether it's lead on wood, that's what I call animation. So thanks for the question. But again, the software, ultimately, I'm going to say it again because I love saying it. We don't talk about the toilet we shit in. We go, we shit, we flush, we get on with our life. The software to me is like the toilet I shit in. I need it. Otherwise my house would stink. I need it because I need to draw and animate. That's all I want it for, to draw and animate. When we animate, when we look at what we're animating, it's all about what I'm drawing, how I'm drawing it, and what's actually the real craft, the real art, the real skill, which most people hide behind the software because the pain of facing the truth that they don't have that and they don't know how to do that, and they're looking for that one button they can push to help them do that. Well, I'm not here for that. I'm here to say you're the artist, you're more than capable, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, that's what real animator training is all about. Right, let's go animate this guy, and let's animate it better than what's in the show. Right, okay, let's move. Right, so My idea for the head turn of this guy. Let me make a few thumbnails, right? Otherwise, if it was just a normal head turn, it would be like what's in the show. We want to take this character, and so I'm going to start him in this position. I'm going to start him with his head down like this, right? I'm going to start him with his head down. So he's going to start like this. So I'm going to use this as my starting position. Then I'm going to have him bring his hand on his hat, right? And he'll kind of hunch down like this because his hand's on his hat there, right? So I kind of had this idea, right? So we're going to bring his hand on his hat and he'll hunch down. Then he's going to come up, right? He's going to come up into this. I'm going to use this expression, right? He's going to come up into a big expression, into a 3/4 view like this, all right? I'm going to use that expression for that, all right? So we have that, and then as he's got that, his hand is going to be on his head like that. Now I can think about his sleeves, okay, as I'm doing that, but I'll worry about that later. Then he's going to settle in this pose, right? So he's going to settle in this pose, which is going to kind of be my settling pose here. Right. So that's what I feel I want to do with the animation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. I'm going to make this super small, right, like that. I'm going to make this kind of gray hair. I'm going to cut this, right? What you're saying, well, this is all software. No, like if I was in an animation studio, I'd just photocopy it and stick it on my drawing board, and I won't have to worry about copying it and pasting it on every frame because it's stuck on my drawing board, right? So it doesn't work that way. Right, so but I need these thumbnails where I can see them. If I drew them on paper, I had a piece of paper next to me, I wouldn't need to worry about that. Okay, so again, I point out software pointless, right? Nothing to do with it. Right, so there we go. Right, we're gonna put this guy here like this. Now I might just blow this up a little bit to save time. Right, it's my drawing, right, and I might put this here, right, because that's my perfect starting point. But I'm going to do it again just to get a feel for the character. So I'm going to come in here, right? So the first key is going to be this, right? The first key is going to be this. And I'm going to systematically break it into shapes for me to understand, right? And I have my image that I thought I had. There we go. I'll keep that there just to help me, right? So this is going to be the first frame, right? Now I remember he's got a scar under his eye there. He's got a little bit of hair. Right. And his neck is very long in this image. Now I remember his clothing. He's got a ruffled hair in his sleeves. Now because I've drawn his clothing, I've got an idea of what he's wearing. You see? So I can start working a little bit more confidently in that. Now I'm just going to make up the spikes on the back of his hair, and we'll come back and tidy that up later. Now this is actually all rounded. I need to pay attention to his ear His ear is a little bit different to the way, so I'm going to change it in accordance to the model that I saw earlier. Right, that's enough. That's enough for that. So now I'm going to work on the last position, which is going to be this one, right? So let's sort his volumes out. So let me find that again. Just keep that with me while I'm drawing. So I have it. All right. So let me check my mic. Yes, my mic is on. Are you all hearing me? Yes, you are. Fantastic. Okay. All right. So Control C. Control V. Right, and just no, man. Right, just so I can have my thumbnails. You see, if I had them stuck to my desk, it would be a lot easier. Right, so I'm going to put on my light box, and I'm going to start. This drawing is a little rough. So I'm going to make this like this, and I'm going to make that drawing again. So he's going to turn his head to us like this. Right, his head is going to be here like that. And I need to see this head relating to this head. Right? So I need to think about the positioning. Right. So roughly get my shapes. Now his neck is a lot smaller in this reference image, so I need to think about adjusting that, right? And his hand is on his head like that. So I'm gonna go, thankfully he's based on human beings, so I can put my arm, figure out my anatomy. Let's figure this out based on his structure. So his deltoid would be there, right? His bicep would be here. His tricep is here. This would be more this way, right? And the hat is here like this. I'll marry it. The moment it's feeling a little big, his head, right? So now we've got his eye, 2, 3, right? This. Okay, now this is going to take a little longer, but this is the frame. This is the last frame, so I want this to be really, really nice. So I'm really working this one out, right? And I'm working it out to sit with this guy. Right. So while I've got his head right, I feel his body positioning is a little off, but we will sort that out. Right. This is down here like this. Now, I don't need to see that. I remember he had it like coming around, so we want more of a 3/4 turn of his body like this. We want to have this, right? So his shirt was open, you see. His shoulder is going to be more up here, right? That's more like it, right? His shoulder is more up here like this. This gonna be more like that. Now his body comes in. He's thin, right? He's thin. Now the hand is going to be on the hat. So I'm going to position the hand on the hat like that. And the hat should be buckling with that hand. Right. Just like that. Right, let's go again. I've made my original idea here. So let's make this work. And as I do that, I'm going to take this guy, right, and I'm going to paste this guy. I'm going to make him super small first. I'm going to put him here so I can see. I'm going to make him blue. There we are, right? So now I have something to refer to. You see, all I want is my reference that I have. I'm going to turn the guy this way. So now I'm going to think purely about the shapes, right? I'm going to think about his shapes. That's all I'm going to think about. I'm going to angle. I'm going to add some deformation in his hat. Okay, so sue me, because his sleeve is going to come in. The drawing that I made reference to had none of that. Right? So this is now going to go down like this. This is going to go up. Right? I'm going to have the fingers on the top of the hat with a little break in one of them like that. Now his hand is bigger. He's got a big hand, so I'm going to make that. That's why I'm putting deformation on the hat. Right, so we're going to do that. Right. I'm going to have the elbow, right, going to come out here like this. The tricep tendon, the tricep, the bicep, right? So that's just me working out the anatomy. It's all going to be lost in the garments, but we want this to look good. The clavicle turning this way, right? The body, right? The garments, right? So 1, 2, this would be more bunched up like that. There we go. A little bit of stretch on the clothing, right, like that. Now let's tone down some of his muscle, right? Well, even though it would be there, let's put a little bit of, you know, anime like to have nice creases, right? So let's play with the sleeve, right? So the sleeve would come around at the back there like this and over, and then there'd be one in here like this. So we won't really see that on that side. Maybe just enough there like this. And then we'll bring that in. Right, okay. Tidy that up a little bit later. So now his eyes. 1. This one here's 1. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna tidy this drawing up once more because it is the last drawing, and this is actually where, you know, if you, when you're doing stuff like this, when you're walking into a new project, right, and you know, these days with digital puppetry, as I said, you don't have to be able to draw because you're a digital puppeteer. You're not an artist. You're a puppeteer. There's an art to puppeteering, but then anything's an art, right? There's an art to baking a cake in their own way. Chefs are artists. Everyone's an artist. A surgeon is an artist. But I mean, how ridiculous are you going to get it? Back in the day when I was growing up, artists were people who could draw, right? So that was the widely thing. Everybody, oh, I don't draw, I'm not an artist. Sculptors were artists and all that, but everybody would say, I don't draw, right? So, but now for some reason they've tried to take drawing away, right? So I'm here to put it right back. And the people who draw, I'm talking to you, right? I love you, and I'm here to help you, and I'm here to help you get good at what you're doing, right? So basically, so here, when you want to pick your time on things to spend on, right? You don't want to burn through it. What I'm animating is very, very easy when you know how to animate. It's going to look great. It's going to have a lot of nice flowing quality to it and everything. But if I'm coming, one of the things that separates the great animators from the average and the mediocre and the subpar is the guys who can just come in and hit the ground running and really, get it all right from the start, right? From day one, they're ready to go. Basically, I could do stuff like that because I also knew where to spend my time, right? This drawing is helping me solve a lot of problems that I'd be putting under the rug. It's an extreme drawing. It's the last drawing. I want it to be good. It's helping me solve a lot. Already I can see that's looking nice, but I'm going to tidy it once more. So then when I start coming in and actually animating this, it's my muscle memory and everything is built. Everything is like, yes, I recognize that shape. My subconscious, what I'm doing at the moment here is I'm programming my subconscious. So I'm gonna kind of have everything to the level of that first drawing, which is, let me just bring my brush size down a little bit so that it is, so where everything is kind of almost just still rough and loose, but it's kind of nicely drawn into the model, just rough and loose, right? So that's how I want to keep the animation in order so we can finish it in one live stream and run relatively short live stream, because I'm always here to show you once you got your stuff to standard, once you know the right things, the real things, not what software you're using, not is it Blender, is it After Effects, or not these insecure kind of questions of am I doing it right, so I'm going to ask, is he using the same equipment as me? It's not the equipment that makes you do it right? It's what you know inside about how to draw and how to animate. That's what it is. There's no running away from that, right? So, but I'm here to say that once you know that, there'll be no insecure questions. There'll be nothing. They'll be like, you know what you're doing, and you'll just do it, and it'll be great. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So his hat has come down over his head a little bit here. So we've got this hair like this, and a little bit of the back here right there. So this is the final drawing, right? So I'm deliberately making it nice because there's going to be a lot of there's not a lot, but there's going to be some slowing into this. Right, I'm just gonna put his hand on his hat there. Awesome stuff. I'm gonna check how I'm doing for time in a minute. I'm gonna just make this up. It's alright. Now the sleeve, I'm gonna really just have it come up. It'll come around and down on itself like that, actually. Then this one will come here. That's all there is to that. Maybe I'll put a little indication of that one in there. We're going to tighten it. Right. Now this actually is an opportunity because he's got a tight shirt. It's an opportunity to talk now. This isn't software, but this is real stuff. The drapery of the bicep muscle coming into the shoulder, right? So that's going to turn out like that. There's going to be a little bulge. There's going to be a little kind of drape there. And that's going to come up, right? We're going to have some nice drapery on the cat. Now the stretch, right? He's got a tricep, but he's not a built guy, so we're just going to stretch. And this stretch is then where we're going to have some negative in the fabric, like that, right? Just like that. So that gives a little bit of pull on his shirt. Maybe I've done it a little too much, right? But I can bring that, because if I look at his garment, right, it's probably more like that, right? So then that gives me, actually I want to have more of the pull coming in there, a little bit of nice garment play going on. Now we've got those very largely defined clavicle, the back of this. You see the trapezius is leaning over forward here with this kind of hunch in his front deltoid and his chest. So that's what these are the things I'm asking myself as I'm making this drawing, right? So you've got this there. All right, that's it. That's enough, right? So I have my one piece. So he's going to go from this pose to this pose, right? That's what we're doing, right? We're getting from this pose to this pose. So now the next thumbnail key is I'm going to create my breakdown image. So we've got two breakdown images that we're going to do. So I'm going to tackle, let's just do it as is. So at the moment I don't need any reference, right? Because I want to solve something, right? So he's going to have his hand on his hat like this. So I need to work more from this to this, right? So his hands on his hat here. Again, I'm using anatomy here, not software, right? It's not the software that's enabling me to do this, right? It's anatomy, right? Anatomy. Chest is in this way, right? Maybe what I want to do is actually maybe push him here, bum, 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 right? So then that enables this long neck with his shoulder here like this. So we're going to see an arc in the shoulder, right? That's why all this is decided. Look at what I'm planning for the shoulder, right? So he's got that big clavicle here, right? He's got a relatively small chest here like this. All right. So see how I'm using this frame to help me? Now I'm going to be using this frame to help me with this one, right? The hat is going to be down. We're going to put his head more to this side. His ear here. More. I want it more like this, right? His head is about halfway, and then they divide that into a third, which is what I remember. I don't know why I'm getting Michael Jackson vibes from this, right? So now I'm obviously gonna work this. So we're gonna have the head as a kind of like 3/4. What images have I got here? What images have I got? Okay. These images aren't really gonna help me, but I'm gonna take this one. Let's make that blue and put that there. Right. Just enough. Just enough for me to imagine his 3/4 is, he's still, I want him still in a, you know, profile, favored profile view. So I'm going to keep that nose there, but I'm going to look at this mouth. All right, like that. Look at this mouth. I'm going to understand that they're going to be very, very flat with his eye, but thankfully it's still down, right? And this is going to be here like this. He's got virtually no chin, like that. His nose is a lot smaller when it's not a profile, so we're going to bring it like that. Yeah, you can see that working. Now we're going to lower his hat from like this. Hand position on the hat. I'm going to play with the hand a little bit here. I'm going to splay the fingers. Alright, like that. But where I'm going to change the angle. Two in the middle, one on the out. Yeah, that's good. Two in the middle, one on the out. How are we doing for time? 1 hour 16. Easy, easy stuff. Right, so this is going to come here like this. These are my extreme poses that I'm doing, right? The hierarchy, extreme poses. I'm gonna try and give it anime timing, right? Because anime timing is a little bit different to Disney timing, right? So I'm gonna work with favors more than I work with. I'm gonna work with halves and favors more than I work with thirds, right? That's the feel of what I think if this was fully animated it would be. So let me now think about this ear, right? The ear is like that with all the little bits in there, right? We have a little bit of hair at the, what about the hair on the, on his back? Okay, I'm gonna take this one with me just also. Help me sort out that ear business. Let's make that blue. Right. Okay, so the blue will get deleted in a minute anyway, right? So it's kind of marrying all this together. Alright, this is a little bit high. Again, I'm going to finalize this drawing nicely once I get the opportunity to finish what I'm doing here. Right. So here, even though I don't see the garment, right, we have this. Now the sleeve. The sleeve would be like this, right? Coming around, round and down like that, giving me some nice sleeve definition. All right. Yep. And what I am going to do is, again, I'm going to put a slight dip on the hat like that. And I'll have to be careful with the volume of that bit of the hat. I'm going to do that. Yep. Okay. Let's tidy this up. Bum, bum. Right. So this is going to be like this. Right. Now I'm going to have his nose. I'm going to think about this mouth position, even though he's not really, you know, his 3/4 view is not really like that, but I want to marry the two, right? So the ear is down here. Right, I'm now thinking, looking at this image, right, to help me get this, right. Very little neck, because his neck is actually shrinking as he's turning around. Because again, the anime guys, because by working on favors, in some ways it's a little bit like the way cutout people animate, puppeteers animate. They use these illustrative drawings, so they like to snap between poses. So they're basically flicking from one illustration to another illustration, which is, it's nice but limiting in what you can do with the movement. So while it's cool and it's got its stylistic look to it, it's not perhaps the best way to get the most out of your animation, but I'm giving it a shot here. I'm gonna do the favor business. Right, let's put that cut under the eye, and I'm gonna have a little bit of the hair still intact there to give him that feel. Now let's get the volume of his hand right. Okay, so I'm gonna spread these fingers a little bit to create some difference when the hand goes on top. I'm gonna bend this like that. Now what I like about this sleeve is it really allows me to be nice and flamboyant with the design, right? Okay, it's just gonna go like this. Again, it's anatomy and still life and drapery study that enables me to be able to do that, right? There's not a tool that you can press to draw the drapery and the anatomy for you, right? I got to stress that. Right. There. Good. That to me was the potentially the hardest drawing to do, because I don't have as much model information to pull it off, but we've got this. So one more extreme that we are now going to do. Let's delete this. Let's save this. So which is this one? This thumbnail here. So he's gonna come up into the 3/4. So I'm gonna draw him the way I want to draw him. Right. I'm drawing the way I'm going to draw him. Then I'm going to pull him back to the model and make it work. Right. So his shoulder comes back, so he's going to travel this way a little bit. We're going to be big with the arcs. All right. I'm going to pull this there. Right, you're going to have that big flat mouth, which is a godsend for me because it just makes it easier for me to draw him, right? You know, so you don't really see much of his hat there. Right, so it's like this. Okay, so the movement is dun 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 dun. Right. Okay. References. I will definitely be needing this. So that's reference number 1, and I'm just gonna put that way so I can have a look at it from that side, right? And the next reference, which is the pose that I'm going to be referring to, is this. This, and put it this way for me to refer to as well. All right, let's draw. Okay, so the arc is going to be like this. So his head is going to be more of an up angle, but I feel I can cheat. I can look at this style of drawing and get the up angle correct. Right, I need to flip back to that. He's got this cute little cheek that goes there like this. His ear is at the bottom here, right? The diamond is going to sit here, right? Now his eye is going to be here like this. His other eye is going to be here like this. I'm going to change it into an angry expression. His nose is up here. I'm going to make his nose, no, his nose is going to be small here because it was big in there. So that's when I talk about the change of illustration, right? So we're going to have his nose like that, right? And we're going to do the usual keeping to the style, which I absolutely hate. But it's not about me hate. It's about being true to the style, right? I'll come back and sort that out and make that a little bit nicer if possible when I come to it. Now the ear comes around here like that. Now we're gonna have some hairstyle, right? I like this hairstyle more, right? So I'm gonna put one here like this. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna be a little bit smaller with the hair, right? Can you see how we're working with the arcs here, right? And then we're gonna come around here, there like that. There, that's good. And his back of his hair is going to be like that. So now I'm going to have his hat should be like this, but I'm going to add a little bit of deformation in that hat for obvious reasons, right? I have a little bit of his top hat there like that. Ba-ba-bum. Bagheera, stop crying, alright? Otherwise I'll have to send you out. I don't know if you all heard my cat, right? Bum, 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 bum. Right, so now we're going to look at this. I'm going to put my light box on so I can be within the arcs. So he has got the big clavicle, right, like this. He's got this chest, his shoulder is going to be down, stretch that neck. How does this work with this? We'll pull it to place, right? So now his upper shoulder is here like this. Bicep, okay. So what you have here is you have a tricep tendon, right? And a long head of the tricep, which comes here like this, right? And the tricep tendon is on this side. Sorry, the bicep is here. Tricep tendon comes back like this. The hand is on the hat here like that. Science of shape simplification. This is a little bit too exaggerated. As I was explaining the anatomy, wouldn't be that way, right? So then here, coming on here for the upper deltoid, in with the chest, in with the lats, right? So now we have, yeah, I'm going to add the garment now as I tidy it up, right? Head's a little bit big, but I can live with that. I can start to chop and change things. Right, so this garment is going to be up here. Now where's that sleeve? That sleeve is going to be like that. It's going to come down. Now let's add some stretch on the garment like this. Good, right? Now some more stretch under there. Really get the feel for the drapery, right? The shoulder, the open coat, right? Will come here like this. Right. This will come back like that. Good. Now we're making it all kind of add up. So here is his fingers. His hat. Gonna be like that. His neck coming up here, clavicle, chest. Yeah, actually we just see this, right? But I'm drawing all that in because it helps me understand the movement, as Mage Burger will testify to that. Right, I kind of think this head is pretty spot on, to be honest with you, so let's just kind of stick with what I got. With that up angle, it's very, very flat, but it's not my character, so I'm just going by what I see, right? And it's okay, that's the style. I'm not telling you it's okay, I'm telling me it's okay, because I hate, sometimes I'm like, you can't do that, you can't draw like that, right? So again, I'm fussing about this mouth, right? Okay, because I just trying to get it as nice as I can. Right? So we've got I'm gonna go with a previous drawing where we exaggerate, like I've got to actually bear in mind with this guy here, right? See a bit of his bottom gums. I'm not even going by the actual teeth of incisors and canines and all that. I'm just putting it as is. So we've got this now. He's got that scar here, which I can't forget. right? And we've got this. I'm gonna have to throw you out, Baggy, right? If you're gonna moan like that. Right, so we've got that. In fact, he's heading for the door, so I'm gonna let him out. Right, okay. So let me just delete this. I'm cool with that. Yep, right, yeah, all good. And then I'm going to... Somebody has just purchased a Real Animator Training Library archive. If you are online now, thank you very much. Now, of late, hang on, I'll just let my cat out. Out you go on. Do what you need to do. Now, you should be able to enter that archive immediately. Okay, you won't need me to swear you in, so thank you if you're watching. If you have any issues with that, because I've had a few teething problems with the website, bear in mind, and I'll come off stream, just shout me a message and I will immediately sort that out. It's a very easy fix, but for some reason it's been happening once or twice. Right, okay, we have got our poses in there like that. Bump, 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 bump. And the first pose is the... I'm just gonna beef up the first pose now because it's a little... Right. I'm gonna go making all that up. Doesn't matter, right? Just gonna go getting this. Keep it in with the consistency of line. I'm not gonna draw any tighter, right? I think it's tight enough for what we're doing, right? So here we have that. Bump, 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 bump. So that's the head turn, but we're gonna now go in here and we are going to break it down further and add some we're going to add some keyframes between the extremes, and then we're going to use favors and give it the old anime timing. Let me just scrub it to see what it looks like. Scrubbed. Yeah, already we can see that's a nice head turn already happening right there. I had in my mind something from an anime intro, that, you know, those old cool anime intros. I've never seen this show. It's on Netflix. I just scanned through it without watching it, and the animation was virtually non-existent. I was kind of interested in this show, but then when I saw there was practically no animation, and it was almost like I was listening to an audio radio show with just pictures with mouths flashing, I said, nah, I'm not watching that. Right, so okay, let's think about how to break down between here and here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring the hand up, right? I'm gonna think about making this a very anime kind of thing, actually, almost like a King of Fighters. So I'm gonna bring the hand up like this. I'm gonna lower the head, right? Almost like it's a KOF opening. Let me put my anime head on, right? And go purely in my mind. So the next one between here and here would be more like this. I'm gonna pivot that like that, right? And I'm not even like, let's have some respectability. Let's do that, right? So he's gonna go like that. There we go, right? So you see the favor leads into the turn, right? So we're gonna favor that, right? So we're going to come into this, right? So we have this, this to this to this. Now I'm going to go between here and here, right? So again, this would probably be a favor thing, but I'm interested. I might try and put a bit of Disney in this. All right, maybe. Let's just see, right? So we're going down, then we go. The anime guy would arc up like this. He would like let's meet it midway rather than big arc like this. Arc like this. Let's put the arc here like this, right? But we're gonna have more of a front view. Now I'm gonna put it here, right? So his head's gonna be here like that, with his hand on his head, forward, up like this, more arcing like this, yeah, more like this, right, and the body is more turned towards us than away from us, right, like this. And then I'm going to open that mouth into being slight pancake view, right, like this. And I have the hat like that. Let's think about that arc, right? Yep, boom. Right, so that's gonna be that. Right. So we've got this drawing to do. Then the final one is the usual beyond. Right. So we're gonna go between here and here. Now, really, it should go up here and down here, right? But I'm just gonna bring it down. I'm gonna work on the down here like this, right? And we're gonna favor this head, and we're gonna put a slight tilt on it like this, right, like that. Right. This could be this, and this is going to come down before it circles back up. So this arm is gonna go, it actually comes up like this, right? So let me keep an eye on that. It's going to come up, right, like this. Then it's going to come down and circle. So the arm is going to be an arc circle. Notice how I'm paying attention to that, right? So all just the shapes I'm caring about, not anything else. Let's have this in here. Keep the arm forward on us so it moves away. Right, that's the squash and stretch element. Let's bring this up. Okay, so that's basic the movement, right? He's gonna put it on. He's gonna look like that, all right? So the next stage, right, is to sort these drawings out. Now this is going to be a very easy drawing, right? And I'll tell you exactly how the anime artists would do it. I personally wouldn't do it this way, but let me just show you, right? You've seen me do it the other way many times, and this is why a lot of people like cutout puppet animation, right? You're going to take this, right? And this is called place and trace, right? You're going to then put a pivot on here, like this, and he's gonna be like that, right? That's literally, you know, back in the day, you would just take the drawing and trace it in a new position, right? I really don't like doing that, because it also, you're going to get telescopic neck if you don't really understand anatomy, right? So I'm gonna play with this neck until I can kind of get something I'm happy with, right? Right, which is going to enable me to. He doesn't have much of an Adam's apple either, right? So you're going to have that. So I'm going to move his garment down like this. Just sell that. You really want to sell that, right? So we've got this, right? Then I'm going to bring in his hand, right? So we have got his thumb. I'm going to round his hands off a little bit because I did notice that while I couldn't find a definite hand model, he did have slightly rounder feel to his hand. Right. Like that. Now I'm going to adjust that hand a little bit to make it marry better with the next frame. So I've kind of put what I wanted to put there. Bum, bum. Right, so let's look at this and this so we have some sizing and we don't make it feel so much like an old man hand, right? So I was figuring that out. See, while I'm not being 100% clean, I'm being fairly clean, right? So I'm showing you how, like, if you look at like what I did with my Santa series, right? You can see I really had to work very rough because it's a very much more expressive form of animation. Now, I am working rough. This is rough, right? But you can see that I'm basically taking a character that I've never worked with before, and I'm working with this very pose to pose way in a very simple way where I can work kind of clean and straight. This is the difference between TV standard, TV grade animation, which is what a lot of anime is, and the Disney feature stuff. So I've tried to explain it to you many times, but now I'm showing you, right? Look, it ain't hard, and you can just basically work pretty fast, pretty clean this way because it's very pose to pose. Now this drawing is going to be one of the more challenging drawings for me to tackle, so I'm going to take my reference here for this particular frame. I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to then put it this way to help me see that, right? Now I need to look at my body, right? Because I had the rough idea, but I want to keep the body intact, right? So again, anatomy is playing the price for me here, right? So then we're going to have this up here like that. Now I want to make sure that this arc is good, right? So I'm going to take the shape of this arm. It's all about the arcing here. Notice I'm not so concerned with the head, right? I'm not so concerned with the head. Let's open that out a bit. The head will sort itself out. It's one of those kind of like tricking, like almost favoring the movement. I'm throwing in an extra arc that I might take out because it's more of a Disney kind of arc, which doesn't really help to the favor. So I'm gonna be more linear with this arc because it's not quite. I can see while it would make a more interesting movement, it's not quite what's gonna do the job here, because I would need more frames to pull it off. And the way I've mapped this movement out, it just you can't really just throw more frames in like that. You need to know the arc determines what you're doing, right? So if I'm gonna do a linear kind of arc like this, then I have to kind of respect that linear arc and not try to do all these flamboyant extra movements in there. That hand I can just come and refer to there, right? So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to examine this arc now, right? Examine that arc. Okay, so let's make this neck work now. Right, so this is going to be the coat sleeve like this. The other coat sleeve like that. Yes, good, good, good. We're gonna throw a bit of squash and stretch in the arm, right? Here, like that. Yes, 1, 2. A little bit of. We're gonna go straight into that sleeve shape like that. I think with only 1 hour 52, right? We are burning through this, right? So I think I'm gonna tidy all of this. This. I'm gonna get this drawing to the standard of all the other roughs, right? So here, I'm gonna think about this expression, right? This, right? This, okay. And 1, 2 down. Suddenly the character kind of gets his identity, right? But here, his hairstyle won't be quite behind his ear, right? It'll be more like this, right? Put the nose out like that. Now here, why is this scar? Oh, because I inversed it. My bad, right? My bad. Gonna not make the smile as big here. Right. Let's go back here. Good, good, good. That's working to me. I'm going to delete that now. I don't need that, but I'm going to tidy the drawing up anyway. Boom. Yeah, you see, even without this is just the keys and the extremes, by the way. I'm not even breaking them down, right? Many times I would describe anime animation, and I'm just making this up, right? This isn't. Many times, okay. I've just received a message from somebody saying library not available. which I kind of had a feeling. Okay, Delance. Let me just say this guy is not... Okay, I will have to reply this guy when I come off stream. Delance Johnson. So I will... If you are watching on stream, what did you get? How to animate your own. Okay, yes, he's got the Christmas seminar stream. So I don't know if you're watching me now, Delance, but stand by. When I come off stream, I will make that available to you. I'm gonna have to come here and finish this stream up first. For some reason this archive is causing a few problems. Right, let's go in here and get all these in the right place. I want to tidy this up like this, because I think that I have the time to. Right? I have the time to tidy this up. And one of the things you're going to watch for is the consistency of the hair. Right? So we're going to go here like this. Come around like that. Now these three shapes, I'm just going to put here. I'm tweaking the volumes. I'm tweaking the volumes as I'm going. You can see I'm getting a lot more used to the characters model. And it's all been relatively very quick, you see. We spent about 15 minutes at the beginning, kind of like deciding which character we were going to do, right? And then as soon as we did the decision, I just went on Google, right? And I made a few quick studies, right? Much like what you see me doing at the beginning of all the feedback streams, right? You see me making those breakdown studies. Now, hopefully you can see where it all goes, right? You know, we're not doing it, well, some of you might be, and I don't mind if you are. I'm happy to help you. But we're not doing it just to copy pictures and say we've done fan art or this kind of thing. We're doing it to familiarize ourselves with a group of shapes and the way those shapes represent things, right? All right. So here we are. That's a nice. See, this looking kind of nice. Some of these drawings, right? This, right? So now we're gonna do this particular art hair. So again, I'm gonna rough out what I can of the body, right? So the body is gonna be coming more down like this, right? Right there. And we're gonna have the deltoid here, the bicep here, right there. You see how I shift over to the anatomy side of things, right? Because I want to make sure, right? Maybe it's a little extreme. I might move the hat here like this. Yeah, it's a little extreme. What I'm doing here is a little extreme. So I need to bear in mind that it's the style of the animation. I don't want him to overshoot too much, right? So let's overshoot his head, right? Let's worry about the hand later. The hand will go where the head goes in this regard, right? I'm gonna play with that angle on his hat just a little bit. There, like that. You see how I look at the shapes? Right. I look at the shapes like this. Let's get that smile. I could have placed and traced this head, but I don't want to. Right. It's not what I want to do. Right, so this hand is going to be here, like this. That's more like it. So now I've got a point of reference for the arm. I'm not going in the dark, right? So the bicep would still be here, the deltoid would still be here, the tricep would still be here, right? This would come in here like this. Good, good, good. You see how anatomy immediately solves all the problems, or the challenges rather. They're not problems, they're just mere challenges for people who don't know. And now I'm not pulling about bits of software, I'm not doing anything of the sort. I'm just showing you how easy it is to animate something like this when you understand anatomy and these rules of animation. You see, right? Already, you know, I don't even have to throw in the breakdowns. Already that's looking pretty legit, right? Right, let's now put this. Before I do that, let me just roughen the garment, right? So the garment, actually, will play with the song. Well, I don't want to throw in too much. There won't be much follow through and overlap on that garment, but I'm gonna throw in just something, right? There's a little bit of tightness to his. I know Silver Sun, being the anime boy that he is, would enjoy this, but this was suggested to me by, God, I forgot his name, and he kept throwing me. I'm going right back to respect him. He kept throwing me, yeah, J the 18th, throwing me all kinds of suggestions. He finally got one that I felt, yeah, let's do that. Because I've always kind of known about this show. It's quite an old show if I understand things correctly. But look at the arc in the shoulders there. Little nice clavicle. We do that in basic training, library walk cycle, right? But I've never actually watched it, and then I finally had the opportunity to watch it, and maybe I didn't give it a chance because I was just so disappointed by the fact that there was virtually no animation in it. It was just literally like just almost like a animatic or a radio show with pictures. But I do like this style. I have to say it's very unique. Very unique. I may find this flat mouth business rather strange, but on the whole, it's a very, very unique style of drawing. It's got a sense of appeal to it. Now he's got one of his eyes shape is in the middle there. I could just shift and trace this head, but I don't want to, right? I want some enjoyment, right? It's with this kind of animation, you can shift and trace and cut the head out, because to be very honest, it's not like Disney in that regard. It is done that way. It's done economical. It's done to save time, right? These guys are looking to cut as many corners as they can, because they got to knock this stuff out super fast. All right. Bum, bum, bum. Let's now tidy the key up. So this is all key. You could call it breakdowns if you're, and just key animation and breakdowns if you're of the mentality of doing this kind of post to post stuff. But I personally still look at this as extremes and keys, because all you saw me drawing was 4 extreme drawings: an extreme profile, an extreme front view, which is what the head turn was, then an extreme down, because his head goes at that's the lowest he gets, right? Then an extreme up, because that's the highest he gets, right? No real prizes for figuring that out, right? And now between those extremes, I'm defining the arcs, the path of action, right? Which is, for me, with these very key drawings that help to define that arc. So I'm not breaking it down. So it is breaking it down with using keys, in my opinion, but anybody who says they don't understand, and some people say key extremes is just another word for keys, maybe I've helped you kind of understand your approach. Many animators who are great, okay, who are very intuitive, who just like to use straight ahead animation, they tend to, the ones who I've met, I'm not going to mention any names, they tend to not really understand it either. They say, well, it's keys, it's a key, they're the same thing, right? So it's not down to a pure case of semantics, and this is the way. I like to take the approach of extremes and keys, because it helps me. The better animation, the more elaborate or the more defined the arc is, right? So if I have working with an extreme to key to break down mentality and mindset, I'm immediately going to be really honing in on those arcs. Well, what is the A, B position, like the extreme, right? Now, how am I going to get from A to B, right? So that's going to be like the most basic definition of an arc, right? Well, it's going to follow this particular action, right? He's going to go down, then he's going to go up, and it's going to arc and swoop this way, that way, right? But then if I then think, well, I can make this arc even more interesting if I throw in an anticipation here, or if I change, a favor here or there, and I go in the opposite direction, suddenly the arc's a lot more interesting. Well, I've added some breakdowns to those key moments, right? There we are. So now we have this happening, which is good. So this is what we got, right, at the moment. He puts his hat on and he turns. Now let's make a few choice breakdowns to make this even more interesting, right? Right? So let's go and do this. So just 2 hours in, right? Not a very long stream at all, right? So now we're going to break this down into this, right? So what I would like to do here is not think of it as one continuous movement. I'm going to think of this as in a very in an anime way, right? Now you see, personally, I would have his head go up before going down, but we're not going to do that, right? We're gonna put a favor here, right? And even though I use the place and trace, right? Notice I'm not using the place and trace here, right? I could do it, but for me it's just as fast, and it's less, there's less room for error with the pivoting neck, right? Being like I'm more able to manage, and I like to see my movement, and then I can, you know, if I wanted to put a little bit, even though you're not really gonna see it, of follow through on his hair, but we don't really, I don't want to pull that shit on you. There's not enough time to see any of that, so let's just go in with that, right? So we're just gonna favor the head in like this, right? Now this is gonna be a very, very different kind of timing what I'm gonna do here, right? Normally I would slow the hand in like this, the hand slowing in, right? Coming in. And actually I think I will. So we've got like this, right? So we've got like one favor there to kind of slow out, right? There, like that. And that gives it a feel. Now I think what I'm going to do, and this is very, very quick, economical way of animating. I'm going to take this hand here, right? I'm going to go and I'm going to do the anime thing, right? But I'm going to think about how that arm would be arcing up like that, right? So it would be more like this, right? There, right? So bump, 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 bump. Right, there we are, right? Now I really hate doing that, but I'm putting my anime hat on, okay? I'm trying to animate this in an anime style, right? It's an anime character, so I'm animating it with an anime feel, right? Right, so now we're going to go from here to here. We may keep that, right? We may, but I'm going to put another favor between here and here, right? Right, I might put the favor here, but I'm going to, yeah, let's do that. Let's make this all about favors, right? So let's go between here and here. So now this is going to be something like this. So this head is going to be up like this. This nose is going to be here. This mouth is going to be here. This is going to be here. Right? There's a little bit of hair, so everything is kind of, so you see the arcs are very, very linear in this. There's not much really to it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna put the body on a half, right, as we bring the body in to view. Right, so this is going to be like Alright, so we'll look at the timing here. Yep. we're going to create that kind of sticking effect there, right? So we're going to have this. And this is why a lot of people think animation, particularly anime fanboys, they think animation, oh, once you get your drawing down, right, you're going to be, now I'm going to put the hand a little bit more splayed to add some variation on there like that, right? Because what it is they basically, you have a set of positions, right? And then you just draw closely to them with the favors. And you have linear arcs that way. And what it does is it just helps you helps it all move and come along in that regard. The only problem is it's very limited and it's very linear in what the arcing is doing. So it gives this very, very kind of staccato kind of timing. It's got that anime feel to it, but it has that quality. But still, I would still say it's a dangerous game to play. Do not understand the 12 laws of animation, because one of the reasons why I've been able to do this animation, look, I've come on a live stream, I've taken a character that I really don't know anything about, right? Never really drawn. If I've drawn him once before, it would have been at a request on a live stream, right? So I've basically come on a live stream and I've done this piece of animation pretty effortlessly, right? And I'm able to also mimic the timing of the style of an anime. Maybe not the style of the show. The show's practically got no movement in it from what I remember, right? But so, and the reason I've been able to do that is because I understand those 12 laws, right? I understand the rules of arcing, and I'm able to actually throw in some nice little touches in there as well, right? Without really, and also the shape, like I'm throwing in this sleeve here as a shape. It's quite easy, right? The consistency of that is quite easy, right? So again, it's a dangerous game to play if you think that you're just going to be good at drawing, right? Drawing, and when I say good at drawing, that again is a loaded statement, because a lot of people who want to do this, who have that kind of rush job mentality of not really wanting to learn, what they like is that, as I say, and I don't care how this sounds, they're going through a phase in life. They're basically fans of anime, right? And they're fans of anime that think they want to be animators. So they enjoy drawing anime characters from their favorite shows, right? Then they think that's all they need to be able to do to be able to make it move, because they might have slowed down some anime and seen this kind of, oh, you just draw it really close to the previous image kind of thing, and thought, well, that's all there is to it. You don't need all of this other stuff. You don't need to really know. If you can draw, you can animate. Well, no, that's why their stuff never really looks particularly any good. And they only if it's like a quick, rush job fight scene where it all moves so fast that the eye can't judge it anyway. It's kind of like they've got something, oh, look at all the drawings in there. But what you really want to be able to understand is what you really want to be able to understand is that the importance of these laws, these rules of arcing, the process I've used, right, which is the extremes to keys to breakdowns, which have systematically enabled me to define my arcs, right? So there we go, bum, 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 right? So now we've kind of slowed into that position with a favor, and we're coming up over to the other side here like this, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to slow into this with another favor, right? So this is already kind of like a favor, but I want to really drag on the top position, right? Really drag it on the top position. So I'm gonna actually, well, I want the previous frame. So this is going just straight up, right? It's not even like I could go halfway in and really slow in and embellish this, but I'm doing this in the way that I, you know, if I had a really limited frame rate, all right, and I didn't have enough time to animate something particularly nice, right? So let me just unfortunately I'm getting a lot of interruptions today, but one of them was very necessary because he bought one of my products. So again, I don't know if he's online because he sent me a message. As soon as I finish the stream, I'm going to sort that out for you. Don't worry. For some reason, I built a new archive, and there's a bug, for want of a better word, in the sign-up process. So we're going to have to sort that out. It's one of the less inspiring things about having your own animation business, right? I could hire somebody to do that for me, which I'm actually thinking about doing. Right, so let's go up here and sort out this. You see the favors. Need to turn off the light box here as I put this favor in. It literally is like, let's just draw close to the previous frame. That's what we're doing here. But again, I must stress, right? It's because of the knowledge of understanding animation law and the knowledge of exaggeration and appeal in conjunction with arcing and timing. And this is, right? This business, what we're doing, is very much slowing in and slowing out, right? So those fundamental laws, arcing, timing, slowing in, slowing out, right, are very, very much at play here. It's literally, I can't be any plainer on just how important this stuff is. If you want to be a good animator, you want to be good at animation. When of course I say animation, I'm saying animation. We're not talking to digital puppeteers here. Digital puppeteers, I'm not rubbishing them. I'm not, but they're puppeteers. They don't need to draw. They're not interested in drawing. The very reason they're doing what they're doing is because they don't care about drawing, right? I'm talking to hand-drawn animators, people who love to bring their drawings to life, all right? That's a very different thing, very different. So you need to understand this law. There's no getting around it. Right, so you see the timing now? We're adding weight to this, right? So We've got the, suddenly we don't even have a middle between hair and hair, but you see how they do it. They switch like a digital puppeteer. I might try putting a middle for my own sake, right? But I'm not gonna, right? I'm not gonna at the moment because I want to sort this last frame out, right? So the last frame is the settle. Now I'm gonna do something. He's got his eyes closed here. This isn't very anime what I'm going to do here, but I'm going to throw it in. On the settle, I'm going to throw in a blink. So again, I'm going to have the favor, right? I'm using nothing here but the favor, which is what this is all about. Right, now again, to avoid, now you've seen me do it with this hand here, right? And you've seen me do it with this head here, but I stress to avoid it from looking completely dead. Right? Do not, I repeat, do not, even if you're doing this anime style, do not, when you're settling into a final frame, use that cutting out, copying, sliding, shape-shifting method, because it is going to look like a drawing sliding back into a, you want to balance that illusion. You can use that here and there if you like want to really save time, and it really won't make much of a difference by doing that, which is what I did at the beginning, right? But I promise you, right, when you're settling into a final pose, don't kill the life out of it by sliding the head around and not redrawing it, right? You want to redraw it because you want to throw in a blink or something like that that's going to give you that that quality, right? So I'm literally just favoring into that like that. So even if I scrub that, you'll get an idea of the feeling of that, right? And I'll tell you why I'm doing it, because I'm going to throw in an extra slow in, because I have seen it on anime as well. So I'm not changing the timing of what I understand to be anime timing, right? But because they have, when they're settling, they do slow in. Sometimes I see them slowing in very nicely, even on the limited shows, right? So I'm just gonna map this out for myself, right? And hopefully you can see, right? 2 hours 27 minutes, actually 2 hours, because the first 16 minutes we were chatting and we were kind of like coming up with an idea of now I know that this guy likes to, his blink shape is like that, so I'm just gonna make his blink shape like that, right? Let's put this closer. We're not on halves, right? We're not on halves. The mouth shape is here. You see, intuitively I'm putting all the, I was going back to slowing in on halves, because that's the way I do it with my more traditional, conventional mentality, right? We're not doing that. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, let me just test that blink out. One final thing I want to do is this hat. This is the important thing to straighten up here as well. You want to get these things in the right place. Don't want them dancing around too much. Okay, there we go. Right, let's see that. Boom. Right, so you can really see the timing on the guy's head there. There. You see how easy it is? This stuff. Right. Now I'm just going to come in and put the hand in. Right. And I don't need to have the hand. I can just go and draw that hand as is. Right. Just slow into that. Now my sleeve is slightly off, so I'm going to change that up slightly. Let's see, we need a bit of that hat in there. Sleeve is more this shape. There we go. I don't mind if this drawing's a little rougher. It's an important, this is one of the most important drawings in the whole thing, right? Because we're bringing everything to a stop. And that's one of the things that you can really see who knows how to animate and who doesn't, even when it comes to this independent people who are into anime, trying to do their own anime, whatever, right? They do all their fancy fight scenes, and there's something about it that always looks amateur and shit, right? And I'm not saying that to be mean, it's just they know it, right? Inside, when they look at their work, right? And that's simply because they don't understand how to slow in and settle and finish, right? And then they blame it on, oh well, the only thing I need to know is consistency and all that. No. You need to know and understand the full deal, right? You need to understand what extremes, what are keys, pose to pose, right? You've done a lot of straight to head. You got to marry it together with pose to pose. Pose to pose, extremes, keys, breakdowns, slowing in, slowing out, spacing, timing, arcing, right? That's what is going to enable you to do all of this stuff, right? So let's just get that hat shape nicer. Right. Okay, there we go. Boom. So you can see that I don't even have an in-between between hair and hair, but I'm going to leave it because that keeps it as that anime timing. But I'm going to do things I'm going to do to really, really make this thing even better, right? Is one, I'm going to throw a slow in here. Right? I've got time. 2 hours, 32 minutes. Nice looking piece of work, right? So I'm going to come in here, and this is where we're going to use the traditional halving thing, right? Just slow in. So I'm going to be very quick here. Very, very just super quick. Now what's happened there? That's what the light box does, right? In between the wrong line, right? Especially when you're being quick. So let's just, that'll do, right? I can, I'm leaving it a little loose. If I so wanted to, I would spend some time really looking at it and getting the volume of those fingers right. But we're close enough, and I've got another drawing to do. So the in-betweening and this stuff is normally very, very time consuming. Not because it's difficult, but because you got to be really, really slow and keep an eye on where you're making those lines, right? And the more lines you have, the more time it's going to take, right? So I'm quite happy. I feel I've illustrated my point, right, as to what this is all about. All right. Almost there. let's just in between the hair, almost there in between the hair, right? Just 1, 2, right? That's just in between this ear. Very, very quick. I'm being as quick as I can, guys. And we can call this. I really want you to see, right? And it could do with even more. Like if this was Disney, I would have 10 frames between hair and hair, right? I would in between 10, like I would have like 5 drawings, which would be like, or which would take up 10 frames, because if you're working on 2s, right, I would do that, right? So now I'm going to open this guy's eye, right, just a little bit. Now opening his eye is going to be a little bit interesting, because you see the 10 frame slow in would really make it nice. Now you see the reason why digital puppeteers and people who want to do their 10 frame slow ins with software, that would just look like a sliding shape. The reason the 10 frame slow in on a Disney hand drawn would be so much nicer and different, it's because we'll have different things happening at different times with different arcs, and it just wouldn't be so slidey-widey. The live stream's not for the library, Charlene. This is just a bit of New Year's fun, okay? So it's going to stay up. Don't worry. Right, so here you see that final slow in there. Now, one more really easy thing to do to make this even nicer, right, is we're going to play with the law of slowing out even more, and this is a really easy drawing. So let's do it. Just between hair and hair, before we bring the hand in, we're going to add a little bit of movement to that head. We have room, you see? We have room even within the favor. So the thing is maybe they would do these extra bits, but you could see that the way I had it before was almost good enough to just have it. I didn't really draw them in, so they're going to disappear, right? It's just going to look weird if I try to animate stuff that disappears, right? So we're just going to move this to his head, right? And it may need a little bit more slowing in. I might add one more, right? Since we've got time and it's so easy, right? Just to really, you can see like the ear is kind of like, I'm really rushing that ear. I really have done, right? So let's just, it's gonna morph and bend because I didn't really pay attention to it when I keyed it, right? But as I said, not bad. It's almost clean, right? I haven't really worked full clean, but it's almost clean. These little things can be tweaked if I wanted to clean it up off stream, and it wouldn't take very long, right? But as I said, there's one more frame actually I'm gonna do. I was gonna leave it like this, but just to embellish it a little bit more, right? So now you have that slow start, the movement, the punchiness, right? But I'm gonna really just go between hair and hair, right? Really push the down so we can pop into that to give it that exaggerated anime timing of extreme downs and extreme ups, right? So let's do that. See, even when I can leave it alone, I won't, right? And it doesn't take that much longer, right? Maybe if you're really working hard out in a sweatbox or whatever, and you just want to go home because you're being paid shit and you don't care about the work, you've had enough, right? Maybe then, alright, don't do it. But in this case, you know, a lot of you guys, you love this, you want to get better at this, you don't, you know, so you can throw in the extra, and it'll, you know, providing you know where to throw it in and why, then you're going to have great work. You know, it's that simple. You guys need to know the real thing that makes you real, the real thing that makes you badass, is your ability to draw and animate, not just, you know, hiding behind a software. Just think about it. Artists crave to stand out. They want the likes, they want the shares, they want the following. Yet these people who are looking to carve their path are so insecure that they want to use what everybody else is using. They want to be using the software that everybody else is using. They're not interested in the uniqueness or the ability that they have. It's a ridiculous contradiction that I want to ram down people's throats so they can wake up and learn the things that they need to learn, which is drawing and animation. All right? Drawing and animation, 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 drawing and animation. I can't say it enough. All right? Right, so here's the timing. You see that little bit of stickiness there really anticipates that move, meaning we don't have to worry about the in-between, which I would still, you know, want to put in there, but it would take away the anime timing. You know, another thing is that actually just what I want to do to make it just that little bit more anime timing wise, right, is I might, you might want to go between here and here, right? But I don't want to, right? Because this is 1, 3, 3, 5. I can play with that, right? I can really play with that and give it this choppy feel, right? If I go between, see, the choppiness is good, right? So I'm going to do one more. I keep saying I'm not going to, I'm going to see how far I can push this. I'm adding my own thing to this anime favoring business, right? I'm going to go in here, right? And I'm going to throw in one more slow in because I like to slow in. This is a more stretched pose than the previous one. And I've gone and I've really made him spend time in that down pose, which is good because that's that. But then I want him to spend more time, right, in the up than the down, right? So you see, it doesn't take long, right? And the thing is this loose, rough look isn't so bad, right? Especially in this day and age, everybody looks at all this glossy CG, you know, digital puppetry. I actually think the more rougher your stuff looks, the more you're being like, the more hand-drawn it looks. And now, whereas back in the day that was a bad thing, now it's actually not so bad a thing because it's like, well, yeah, this is hand-drawn on it. Well, you know, let's just draw it. Who cares if it looks drawn? You know, used to be this big fear that it looked drawn. And if I'm honest, I still have that about my own work. I want it to look like the old nice smooth line whatever stuff, solid, but then like but the nature of the medium is changed now, and it's changed in a way that maybe frees you up, those of you worried so much about time. And you know, and yeah, consistency, you have to still have consistency, but you can be a little bit more, you know, in a way like back in the day, back in the 60s Disney style, you know, the Jungle Books and the Aristocats and those kind of things. Can be a little bit more scribblier and not so concerned, right, with that stuff, right? So here, this, I'm having tremendous fun doing this, actually. And oopsie, I left his teeth out. There we go. There, just wrote a bunch of halfway lines, and we got that in there. Right, so let's have a look at the timing now. Right, there we go. You see, puts the hat on. So yeah, I don't need to do any more to that. I think we kind of have done what we've done, right? We've animated this guy putting his hat on, or just putting his head on his hat, turning his head, right? But you can see the basic head turn, the dip of the head and the turn, the open and the blink at the end, all of the things that I teach in the basic Real Animator Training Library Head Turn archive lecture. It's all there, right? It's still there. So that was a really, really fun lecture. New Year's countdown lecture. Really enjoyed doing it. Took this One Piece character, I don't even remember his name, Luffy. That was it. Luffy, mate. Oi, Luffy. Oi. There it is. Luff, mate. Luffy. I've had enough. I've had enough of you, Luffy. Right. So basically, we took this character and had fun with it. So it was a really good challenge. Now, before I go, let me turn that mic off. Now, I do have to get on offline pretty quick and sort out the purchase from again, I'm gonna say, in case you're online, Delance. What an amazing name. Delance purchased something from Real Animated Training and has messaged me. Luffy, mate. Luffy, Silver Sun. Oi, Luffy, mate. Luffy. So I'm doing it on purpose, right? So I'm gonna go and help him out. Enter his membership, which he so justly purchased. If you're watching Delance, I'm sorry about that. There seems to be a glitch in the website with that one archive. I've noticed that when it comes to the others, people are getting on those fine. Yeah, Cameron Allen Davidson Black's got my back. Luffy, mate. Luffy. I wonder how a Scottish... Luffy. Would a Scottish say Luffy? Oi, Luffy. Luffy. We can really wind up Silver Sun. I'm having a bit of fun with Silver Sun. Okay, right. Let me have a quick look at the chat. We see the talk about all that. Luffy is made of rubber. You can squash and stretch him as much as you like. I didn't even know that. Oh well, that would have been even, could have had even more fun out of it. Yeah, I've got two cats for old Mayfly. My princess is sleeping quietly on the chair, but Bagheera is a black cat, and he's my wife's favorite, and he was crying his eyes out wanting to be fed. The guy just is, you know, he's extremely handsome and very slender and shaggy. He looks like it's something from an anime, actually. Very, very beautiful, but he eats like goodness knows what. I don't know where he puts it all. I just realized I had one piece. Okay. Luffy, mate. Luffy. Go over there and turn the light on. Okay. Okay, we have reached the end of the chat. Alright, Luffy, mate. Alright, now that's more Liverpudlian. Alright, Luffy, mate. Alright. How all these British accents came in there. How were their West Country? Luffy. That would be an Irish. Luffy, mate. Luffy, one piece. One piece. How are ye? Luffy. Silver Sun's like, it's Luffy. AMB, have you had any New Year's resolutions? Not really. For me, New Year is every new moment. Every moment's like a new moment. I understand people like to measure things by a year and all that. There's nothing wrong with that. But there was a Judge Thomas Straward, one of the founders of the New Thought movement, which was in the 1920s or even before, 1800s possibly, where all these authors like Wallace Wattles and Florence Scovel Shinn and all these kind of authors later evolved into Rhonda Bryn with the well-known Secret. He said, I am a thinking center of divine operation. Divine operation is always for expansion and fuller expression. That means the creation of something entirely new and beyond what has gone before, and something beyond the past experience, and not inclusive of it, though proceeding out of it by an orderly sequence of growth. So what that means is your life is one continuous moment, and moment upon moment upon moment upon moment is how you're building it. Now you choose to carry the memory with you, that's fine, sometimes that's beautiful, but many of us define who we are, or we give us a set goal or a set time. We can just in the next moment be something entirely different, and you don't have to carry any of that with you. I'd just like you to think about the power of that. Just really think about the power of that. So those of you perhaps who define yourself as weak artists or certain kinds of artists or certain kinds of things like that, you think about, just take away that definition and now you're something entirely new. So why does that have to be at the new year? Why do you have to carry that with you for an entire year? You can if you want, right? So for me, I'm getting in the spirit. We did this as a fun New Year's stream, and I'm getting with the camaraderie and the spirit of the mass consciousness, so we can all relate to one another. But really, you don't have to. Your New Year's resolution ideally should be my new moment's resolution. What am I going to do at this next very moment right now? It can be anything. I'm going to go and solve a problem with my website. That's what I'm going to do. All right. Okay, people, I will see you all on the next live stream. The guy actually purchased, it's important actually this, because in the new year the price will go up. So the archive he purchased is on a discount price for Christmas and the new year. It is the Santa archive of the 56 parts How to Animate Your Own film series. So at some point in the new year I will raise that price. Now I'm going to be very considerate to some of my members. I'm not going to wait until New Year's Day and immediately do that, so don't worry about that. But you guys have got until January, and maybe I'll give you the entirety of January just to give some of you guys some time. Okay, so thanks a lot. I will see you all on the next live stream. Over and out. This was so much fun, and yeah, I love proving my point, just how easy anime is. Okay, see you later, people. Bye bye.